let's quickly see what is self-awareness. It's about knowing who we are. The lion was not knowing what he was, so he was basically looking at elsewhere and look for that identity. So self-awareness is all about gaining that thing about knowing who we are. The moment we know ourselves, then rest of the things become a lot more easier. And we should also know, if you have a heightened self-awareness, you will also know how we are seen. One is knowing ourselves, and the other one is also having that ability to see how others are perceiving us. This is not to mean that we become self-conscious. It is more about getting a realistic thing in terms of how we come out and show up to people. Self-awareness is also about knowing what our strengths and weaknesses are. Those who are, in organizations, we basically know that the organizations typically do a SWOT analysis: strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. And it's very important that we need to have our SWOT also. So this is self-awareness, helps us to understand what are our strengths and what are our weaknesses. And more we get into this, we know that why are we doing the things that we are doing? So how did we get to the place where we are now? In the lion story, it's about how did it came to a stage where it is eating grass and it became too timid and doesn't know that it's got lots of power and things like that. So those are the things that comes from self-awareness. And as we talked about earlier, it's about knowing how our presence and or our behavior affect others. So this is about having that awareness about how we influence others and how we are getting influenced by others also. So that is in short what self-awareness is all about. They did a survey, research was done, and they did a survey of thousands of people. And the researchers were asking a question saying that, how many people think that they are self-aware? 95% of the people felt that they were self-aware. But in reality, there was only 10 to 15 of the people who had a varying degree of self-awareness. So these numbers gives us a feel in terms of how we overestimate ourselves, and we are at a stage where we are ignorant of what we know or what we do not know. So that is what the research is saying. Now we talked about what is self-awareness. Let's get into why self-awareness is needed. So when we have higher self-awareness, it has a direct impact on emotional intelligence. So as we all know, we started talking about IQ earlier. Intelligent coefficient was something that we were talking about earlier to say how intelligent a person was. And then we moved into a stage where we talked about emotional quotient. So to see, how are we emotional, how strong we are emotionally, how adept we are emotionally, things like that. And now there are more quotient that's coming in. Alibaba's, Jack Ma has come out with what is called as love quotient. It's about how much love we have for ourselves and for others in the team. And there is something related to the team coefficient in terms of how people are able to work together. There's something called VQ, WEQ. It is about shifting from I, me, myself to a we. So these are the things that are coming up as themes. As we know, the world is quickly moving on from the heroic leadership to a collaborative leadership. So in these times, it is very important that all of us have a clean shift from I, me, myself to a we. So that's what is happening in the big world. And when we have heightened self-awareness, it has a direct impact on the job performance. It comes from we are able to connect with our co-workers and with our superiors and have a better relationship, a better working relationship, better collaboration. All the things happen, and which automatically comes out and shows as good performance also. And obviously, all these things will lead to a better career for us. So that's those are the things that comes in. And if we are a leader managing a team or a leader of leaders, for example, someone in the C level or a D level, then the effectiveness of leadership is very important, and that's also has a direct impact on self-awareness has got a direct impact on the effectiveness of leadership. Communication is another thing that happens, and the communication is not only with the people who we are work with; it is also within our family. We have an opportunity to better understand our spouse, our children, our parents, and then we have better life altogether.